Once upon a time, there were 3 battle angels who went to fight in Valorum's frontier. And they were each assigned very hazardous duties. But the Emperor took them away from all that. And now they work for Avernum. My name is Charlie Alpha Delta. You find an abandoned campsite. There is a human body here, heavily decomposed. He or she died violently, probably killed by something with large teeth and claws. A stained and slightly rusty sword sits on the ground nearby. Take it. You suspect that there is something hidden here, but you don't have enough cave lore to discover it. You are ascending a huge, craggy spire of rock, dominating this end of this huge cavern. An old road, made of thick cobblestones, leads up its side. At the top of the hill, you see a crumbling fortress. It has a commanding view of the enormous cavern to the west. The fort is in ruins, though you can see smoke from fires inside. It drifts up into the still air and leaves a foul, grey haze around the keep. You enter this abandoned fortress. This was a small outpost, placed here to keep watch over the vast expanses of cavern to the west. Now it is in ruins, abandoned by the Avernites. When you look around, it is clear that someone has since moved in. There are people living here, though you doubt that they're the legitimate owners. The buildings to the west have been roughly patched up, and you can hear loud, raucous singing coming from inside. Whoever lives here is drunk, rowdy, and, considering the number of bandits roaming this area, probably hostile. You hear a shout of alarm, coming from somewhere near the keep's main entrance. You fervently hope that the bloodthirsty yells are coming from Avernite soldiers, who have finally roused themselves and come to drive out the brigands. Yes, it would be nice if life worked that way. A young mage steps out of his chambers to confront you, muttering the beginnings of a spell of protection. One brief look tells you that he is but an inexperienced apprentice among these humble brigands. However, his humble powers have earned him a position of leadership. As he examines you, his lip curls in an arrogant sneer. Another day, another group of Avernite adventurers, another set of treasures for our stores. I am Arcanus Peregrine, and you have earned your doom. Say, I was attacked by a brigand named Lagrin. Ever see him? Peregrine looks surprised. Yes, Lagrin came here, tried to join us. I turned him away. I could see the naked ambition in his eyes. He went south, probably dead by now. Arcanist, you are no wizard, kid. Peregrine is smart enough to work magic but too dumb to see his own limitations, which are considerable. You dare question my skills. For that, you will die in fire. I will rid Avernum of your pernicious presence. Attack. Peregrine raises his hands, and a ball of flame appears between them. Do your worst. There are several parchment scrolls on these shelves. You examine them briefly. They are covered in strange writing. Try to decipher it. You can improve your knowledge of the spell called Beast here. You concentrate and try to memorize it. With work, you gain more proficiency with this spell. You open the box and find a jumble of torn-up scrolls. Some are papyrus, some are fine vellum, brought from the surface. All of them have been torn up and misused, and disgustingly stained, by the goblins. Remembering what you learned on the job board in Silver, you dig deep into the mess. At the bottom, you find several scrolls that have somehow resisted the goblin vandalism. The scrolls are covered with strange runes and diagrams. You wipe them off, roll them up, and store them away. You notice, out of the corner of your eye, that a brick is protruding from the wall in the northwest corner of the room. Very suspicious. Almost makes you want to push it and see what happens. There is a heavy door here, blocked by timbers and large piles of rubble. The brigands have been trying to dig their way through the mess, but they haven't had any luck. This barrel of garbage looked, from a distance, like it might have something useful in it. Closer inspection, however, reveals it to be merely a barrel of garbage. In earlier versions, you had to rest to restore health, either sleeping in a room in a town or eating and camping outside of towns. In this version you get full health and magic just by stepping into a friendly town like Fort Duvno. Also you don't die but can be knocked unconscious. Stepping into a friendly town also restores unconscious adventurers. You find the ruins of what was once some sort of farm or homestead. It is now a burned out shell, clearly the victim of some sort of attack. You encounter a band of roving brigands. They seem to have decided that you're an easy target. Their leader hails you. Hold on a moment there. These are our caves. If you want to pass, you must give us 50 gold. If you do not, rest assured that we will act in an immediate and violent way. Attack. You have defeated the bandits. You don't find any loot on them. You must have been their first intended victims of the day. Fort Avernum will be very grateful for your help. A group of Avernum troops, operating out of Fort Avernum, approaches you. When they see that you aren't bandits, they warn you to be careful. There are bandits and crazed Nephilim in this area, the captain says. Then they depart. You see a homestead ahead, by a small lake. Smoke is rising from it. From here, you can't tell if the smoke is coming from a bonfire or a house fire. Approach and investigate. You approach the farm, and find a ruin. What is more, it's been a ruin for some time. The smoke came from an unattended bonfire, left there to lure you in. As you turn to leave, you see the approaching bandits. You enter and search the house, afraid of what you might find. Fortunately, there are no signs of violence inside. The owners of the house must have fled before the bandits arrived. You encounter a lone creature, lost and desperate. It's a reptilian humanoid, the size of an adult human, wielding a large, two-tined spear. This must be one of the infamous and dangerous Slithericae. When it sees you, it doesn't bother to speak. Instead, it emits a vicious hiss and charges you. You find the remains of a campfire. A group of people, probably human, camped here recently. Looking to the east, you can see that the cave wall is heavily cracked. Perhaps someone could, with care, slip through one of those cracks. It might merit closer investigation. There are a lot of supplies stored here, heaped around a cold and abandoned campsite. There's some water and goods for barter, and some nice javelins as well. You could easily search through the sacks and take everything useful. Take it. You suspect that there is something hidden here, but you don't have enough cave lore to discover it. The already moist and sulfurous tunnels of Avernum grow even more humid in this direction. You think you're approaching some sort of fumarole or other volcanically active location. As you walk east, you see many large bats flying near the ceiling of the eastern gallery, as if they are following you, or hunting you. You are at the mouth of a high-ceilinged cavern, filled with the reek of guano and the loud squeaking of a multitude of bats. The goblin body at the entrance provides fair warning. The bats here aren't the warm, cute, cuddly bats you are used to. Bat cave, beware, bats. When you click on a square to move, you have to be careful a path is clear to it. I made a mistake with Bosley, and the game is trying to do what I clicked with a long route. Bosley ends up in a fight on his own. You detect and dig up a hidden cache. You find swamp boots. This is very interesting. Now you know what evil dungeons are like before they actually become evil dungeons. This humanoid lair is still under construction. You would guess that the Nephilim will live here eventually, and they have put goblins to work to do all of the heavy lifting. You had both races on the surface, and the smaller were often forced to work by the larger. From inside, you can hear the sounds of tools striking stone and the harsh voices of the goblins. It is in your power to put a quick end to their labors. You meet a human in tattered armor. He is clearly underfed, and the goblins have beaten him as well. What are you doing here? I was part of a group that raided these caves. We thought they didn't know we were coming, but they must have seen us, 'cause they nailed us when we entered the main cave. I don't know what happened to the others. Where is the main cave? I'm not sure where it is from here. I know it's just inside the entrance. There's a spring in the center, with a pool. Since you're here, you must have seen it. Who attacked you? Goblins, Nephilim, even a shaman. I fled when one of the others caught a bolt of flame in the chest. How many were in your group? There were 10 of us. A bunch of them died in the ambush. Others hid in the tunnels. This place is riddled with hidden passages. 2 of us were captured. Only I lived. Hidden passages. The goblins have built a few hidden doors. Look for spots of weird color on the walls. Then push them. You should wait here. It's still dangerous out there. Sure thing. Good luck killing those goblins. He thinks. You know, I heard one of them mention something about a shaman in one of the back rooms, and about the key it was guarding. Just thought you'd want to know. You notice that an odd, discolored outcropping of stone is sticking out of the wall nearby. You are tempted to push it and see what happens. This is a small, hidden storeroom. A pile of hammers, sacks of cement, and other building supplies sit in the corner. This cave is clearly used by the residents as a trash pit, and probably a latrine as well. There is filth spread everywhere, and the smell is almost overpowering. The body of a human has been disposed of here. The only visible wound is a pair of small puncture wounds at his ankle. You aren't sure how he died, but you can see his pouch is still intact. Examine it more closely. The pouch contains gold, a reasonable amount of it, and a potion as well. However, you now have a good guess of what killed the intruder. Several worms were hiding in the rocks at the edge of the cavern. There is some writing here, painstakingly scratched into the wall. It reads, ambushed an entry cave Nephilim and Nepha 2, split up ran lots of secret tunnels, some hid in them hope rescue in time. Considering that there is a dead human on the floor under the message, it seems likely that help didn't arrive in time. A goblin shaman stands tall, well, as tall as possible, in front of this dark, stained altar. He totters under the weight of all of the trophies and carved fetishes he wears. He points down at you from his perch. You humans, so arrogant, always think you are killing goblins easy. Well, Shaman Dorva says his end for you. We fight with Nephilim, and they are tall. The Nephilim warriors standing behind him snarl fiercely. Then they all attack. The leader of this outpost has been destroyed, along with most of his allies. This is a huge setback for the northern tribes that are fighting Avernum. You look inside the box. There is a bronze key inside, on a long loop of lizard skin. You pick up the key and pocket it. It will be used automatically when you reach the door it unlocks. Hinthik is still hiding in the cell. He seems desperate to flee. Is it yet safe to leave? Well, consider yourself freed. Thank you. I will never forget your help. He thinks, you know, I heard one of them mention something about a shaman in one of the back rooms, and about the key it was guarding. Just thought you'd want to know. He flees from the cell, moving towards the exit as fast as he can. You've done your good deed for the day. Shreds of armor and broken weapons indicate some sort of battle or ambush took place here. The blood smears on the ground are still fresh. Since there's no rain down here to wash them away, you aren't sure who was fighting who. The passage is blocked by a large band of Nephilim guards, sitting around a campfire. They look at you with contempt as you approach. Then they decide that you should be punished for approaching so close to their fortress. The Nephilim are gone. You are victorious. You may continue onward. The passage is blocked by a large band of Nephilim guards, sitting around a campfire. They look at you with contempt as you approach. Then they decide that you should be punished for approaching so close to their fortress. The Nephilim are gone. You are victorious. You may continue onward. The shore is guarded by a small band of Nephilim guards, sitting around a campfire. They watch you nervously as you approach. They don't seem like they want to fight you, but you doubt that they'll back down if you keep going. Attack. The Nephilim are gone. You are victorious. You may continue onward. The shore is guarded by a small band of Nephilim guards, sitting around a campfire. They watch you nervously as you approach. They don't seem like they want to fight you, but you doubt that they'll back down if you keep going. Attack. The Nephilim are gone. You are victorious. You may continue onward. You are on a swampy outcropping in the middle of a large stagnant pool. The smell is awful. You discover a small patch of bright green moss. Alas, you don't know enough about the lore of the caves to recognize it. This is a small spring, a pleasant counterpoint to the bare rock of this area. The runoff forms a small creek running down to the river to the south. You take a drink and turn away. As you do, you notice you have company. You have been drinking at something's watering hole. You detect and dig up a hidden cache. You find speed potion. You tell Gary a heart-stopping tale of vicious battles against bats. He nods approvingly and presents you with a pouch of coins and a bronze broadsword. There is a small, peculiar park in the middle of this town. Several of the Avernum trees, half wood, half fungus, surround a small pond. There are neither lily pads nor ducks. There is, however, a lot of lichen, and tiny lizards frolic about. Travel pylon. Do not use without receiving instruction at the Tower of Magi, or lethal disruption may result. The stoneworker doesn't respond when you approach. Mages tend to create these constructs to do heavy lifting for them. Once the animating wizard departs, the mindless creation is left to crumble silently away. Some kind-hearted people feel that this conduct is cruel mistreatment of these creatures' objects. Agitating too loudly about this in the Empire is one good way to earn a free trip to Avernum. There is a spell book chained to this pedestal. The name of the owner is carefully inscribed on the spine, Theral's Knowledge Compendium. It's very impolite to look at the mage's spellbook, but if you took a peek inside this one, it probably wouldn't hurt, unless, of course, it was trapped. Read the book and hope it's not trapped. Most of the contents are very basic, no help to you. There is, however, a description of a powerful, ancient, holy rite. It's rather out of place in this book. It's very interesting reading, though. You can improve your knowledge of the spell Cool Beast here. You concentrate and try to memorize it. With work, you gain more proficiency with this spell. Jason stipples his finger in front of his face and leans back in his crude stone chair. So, supplies. Do you need them? I found the bandits you told me about. They won't be troubling you anymore. Jason says, yes, I have heard already of your glorious triumph over that band of murderers. He presents you with an iron shield he kept behind his counter. This is not magical, alas. Magic is rare down here. However, it can deflect many a blow. You give the moldy scrolls to Walner. He inspects them, mostly ruined, of course. Bah, I expected no more. Still, I might get some use out of them. He gives you a pair of magical scrolls in exchange. I killed the commander of that goblin fort. Can I get a reward? You tell Johnson of your adventure in the goblin caves, culminating in a hair-raising tale of your battle with the Nephilim commander. Johnson is pleased, though he doesn't act very impressed. Good enough, I suppose. I will get you your reward. Johnson has a spear in a pouch containing 100 copper coins brought to you. These coins would be worthless on the surface, here in Avernum. However, they are quite valuable. I did it. We killed the brigand commander, and he was tough, too. You report to Captain Johnson that you managed to defeat the magically talented commander of the brigand fortress. Not bad, he says. That is a job which has defeated the best efforts of our warriors for months. Johnson produces a helmet and a small pouch and gives them to you. The pouch is filled with semi-precious stones. Excellent bartering goods. Thank you again for your help. Grimmet nods. Need a weapon. Still the best you can find in the Eastern Gallery. I would like to sell something. Despite his determination to flee south, Caius is still here and still drinking. For now, his confidence in his faith has fled him. Tell me about your holy symbol. He holds it up. You see that it is a tiny die, forged of silver. I am one of the speakers of holy chants, and yet, I am no missionary. Can you tell me what you worship? Nothing, and everything. Everything is vast, and only those who strive and risk all can prevail. He looks embarrassed. As I said, I am no missionary. You can learn more of our path in one of our temples. There is one in Formello. I would like to learn more holy rituals. Then travel north to Formello. If you would expand your magical knowledge, there is much to be learned there. You see, in the middle of this grove of twisted trees, a huge group of gremlins. These strange, manic creatures are rare on the surface. They are very cheery, but sometimes very volatile and dangerous. Strangely, this group don't seem happy at all. In fact, they seem downright suicidal. They lie around on their backs, shaking their heads and occasionally sobbing. Approach and talk to them. You carefully step forward. Some of them approach and sniff you. They seem to be smelling for something. Soon, they decide that you are completely uninteresting. Then they rush forward and unceremoniously kick you out of their grove. When you look back, you see that they've returned to their apathetic, mournful state. You must not have had anything that cheers them up. You are on a swampy outcropping in the middle of a large stagnant pool. The smell is awful. You discover a small patch of bright green moss. Some of the tufts are quite fresh, and you recognize them as a variety used in healing potions.